Gaur Premanandi Hayarivo Chayom Vishupad Paramahansa Parapajak Acharya Asita Sri Shiman ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glory to Prabhupada. So, with Gaur Purnima upcoming, we're continuing reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This morning we'll start chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya and 5 features. After the reading, I will save a little time to show some pictures from my recently completed trip to India and Dubai by request of some devotees. So if you're interested, those of you who are on Facebook, you may have seen some of them, but there are also some new ones that I haven't posted before, so maybe worth your while. Also, one other thing before we start the reading, everybody's got the coronavirus on mind, and there's this very interesting statement by Srila Prabhupada. It's found in the Transcendental Diary of Harishori Prabhu, and this is something that exchange that happened in Vrindavan. So Harishori said, it was wonderful to hear Prabhupada share stories from his young life. We know little of his past except whatever he happens to reveal in these informal moments. He related that once in Calcutta, when he was very young, there was a big epidemic. Thousands were dying every day. So a prominent devotee there organized a huge Harinam Sankirtan party, and all the citizens of Calcutta, including Muslims and Christians, joined in. In this way, the epidemic was checked. Many different Sankirtan parties went out to all parts of the city, and many thousands of people decorated their homes and invited them in. Prabhupada's father also lit up their home with many lights and received the parties, and Prabhupada said that he remembered joining in, although he was so small he could only see their knees, but still he wanted to engage in the kirtan. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So according to Srila Prabhupada, the cure for this coronavirus is Harinam Sankirtan. Haribol. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't take precautions, washing your hands and being careful not to touch people and stuff like that. But let us not forget also to inject Harinam Sankirtan into the mix. Okay, so Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 7, text number 1. Agyate kagating natva hinartha dikasadakam Shri Chaitanyam likyatesya prema bhakti padanyata. Let me first offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the ultimate goal of life for one bereft of all possessions in this material world, and is the only meaning for one advancing in spiritual life. Thus, let me write about his magnanimous contribution of devotional service in love of God. Srila Prabhupada's purport. A person in the conditioned stage of material existence is in an atmosphere of helplessness. But the conditioned soul, under the illusion of Maya or the external energy, thinks that he is completely protected by his country, society, friendship, and love, not knowing that at the time of death, none of these can save him. The laws of material nature are so strong that none of our material possessions can save us from the cruel hands of death. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 9, it is stated, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha Nidarshanam. One who is actually advancing must always consider the 4 principles of miserable life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. One cannot be saved from all these miseries unless he takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore the only shelter for all conditioned souls. An intelligent person, therefore, does not put his faith in any material possessions, but completely takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a person is called akinchana, or one who does not possess anything in this material world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also known as akinchana gochara, for he can be achieved by a person who does not put his faith in material possessions. Therefore, for the fully surrendered soul, one who has no material possessions on which to depend, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the only shelter. Now, this should not be misunderstood. It's not that we can't have things, cars, homes, clothes, whatever, but we're not depending on them for our happiness and depending on them to save us from Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. There are many renunciants in this area that we live in. They're living on the street. They have hardly any clothes to wear, hardly any possessions, but they're still materialistic. Some of them feel that they're better than those who have homes and stuff because I'm so renounced, I'm detached, I can live anywhere. But they're still attached to the material body and the materialistic way of life. They're not attached to Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. So this is the point. If you want to be attached to Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, then don't depend on your material possessions. Not that you can't have them, but don't depend on them. Continuing, everyone depends upon dharma, religiosity, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, and ultimately moksha, salvation. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, due to his magnanimous character, can give more than salvation. Therefore, in this verse, the words hinartadika sadakam indicate that although by material estimation, salvation is of a quality superior to the inferior interests of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, above salvation there is a position of devotional service and transcendental love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the bestower of this great benediction. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prema Pumartha Mahan, love of Godhead is the ultimate benediction for all human beings. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, therefore first offers his respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before describing his magnanimity in bestowing love of Godhead. Text 2. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya Tanhara Charashita Ye Se Badadanya. Let me offer glorification to the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who has taken shelter of his lotus feet is the most glorified person. Purport. Prabhu means master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme master of all masters. Therefore, he is called Mahaprabhu. Any person who takes shelter of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most glorified because by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is able to get promotion to the platform of loving service to the Lord, which is transcendental to salvation. Text 3. Purve Gurvari Chaya Tatte Kaila Namaskar Guru Tattva Kahiyachi Eve Panchara Vichar. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Now I shall try to explain the Panchatattva. Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai. Purport. In the first chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, the author, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, has described the initiator, spiritual master, and the instructor, spiritual master, in the verse beginning with the words, Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Isha Vatarakan. In that verse, there are 6 transcendental subject matters, of which the truth regarding the spiritual master has already been described. Now, the author will describe the other 5 tattvas, truth, namely, Isha Tattva, the Supreme Lord, his expansion tattva, his incarnation tattva, his energy tattva, and his devotee tattva. Text 4. Panchatattva avatirna chaitanya rasange, panchatattva lana karena sankirtanarange. These 5 tattvas incarnate with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord executes his Sankirtan movement with great pleasure. Purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, Chapter 5, Text 32, there is the following statement regarding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everybody knows, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumeda Saha. Translation. In the age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of the Sankirtan Yagya. End of translation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied by his plenary expansion, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, his incarnation, Sri Advaita Prabhu, his internal potency, Sri Gadadhara Prabhu, and his marginal potency, Sri Vas Prabhu. So sometimes people get on each other's case about how to pronounce Gadadhar, but it's there on the screen. It's Gada, long A, Dara, not Gadadhar. There's no long A in Dhara, it's Dara. Gadadhara. Everybody say, Gadadhara. He is in the midst of them as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied by these other tattvas. Therefore, our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are complete when we say, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. As preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement, we first offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting this Pancha Tattva mantra. Then we say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but these are not considered in the chanting of the Pancha Tattva mantra, namely, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Mahavadanya, the most magnanimous incarnation, for he does not consider the offenses of the fallen souls. Thus, to derive the full benefit of the chanting of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we must first take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, learn the Panchatattva Maha Mantra, and then chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That will be very effective. So, one very smart devotee once asked Srila Prabhupada, if this is the case, there are no offenses to the Panchatattva Mantra, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so magnanimous, then why do we bother chanting Hare Krishna? Why don't we just do our japa of the, of the Panchatattva Mantra? Prabhupada said, no. We follow the predecessor acharyas, and this is what they've established. First you chant the Panchatattva Mantra, then you chant Hare Krishna. Not that you make japa only of the Panchatattva Mantra. Continuing. Taking advantage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many unscrupulous devotees manufacture a Maha Mantra of their own. Sometimes they sing Bhajanitai Gaura Radhe Shyam Hare Krishna Hare Ram, or Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Sri Radhe Govinda. Actually, however, one should chant the names of the full Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and then the 16 words Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. But these unscrupulous, less intelligent men confuse the entire process. Of course, since they are also devotees, they can express their feelings in that way. But the method prescribed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pure devotees is to first chant the full Panchatattva mantra and then chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. That also does not mean that we chant the Panchatattva mantra before every bead. No, we chant it once at the beginning of every round, and then before the next round, and so on. Otherwise, your japa will take forever if you were to chant the full Panchatattva mantra before every bead of Hare Krishna. So, text number 5. Panchatattva ekavastu nahi kichu bhed, rasa asvadite tabu viveda vibhed. Translation. Spiritually, there are no differences between these 5 tattvas, for on the transcendental platform, everything is absolute. Yet, there are also varieties in the spiritual world, and in order to taste these spiritual varieties, one should distinguish between them. Purport. In his Anubhashya commentary, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur describes the Panchatattva as follows. The Supreme Energetic, the Personality of Godhead, manifesting in order to enjoy 5 kinds of pastimes, appears as the members of the Panchatattva. Actually, there is no difference between them because they are situated on the absolute platform. But they manifest different spiritual varieties as a challenge to the impersonalists to taste different kinds of spiritual humors, rasas. In the Vedas, it is said, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. The varieties of energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are differently known. From this statement of the Vedas, one can understand that there are eternal varieties of humors or tastes in the spiritual world. Sri Gauranga, Sri Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Sri Gadadhara, and Sri Vas Thakur are all on the same platform. But in spiritually distinguishing between them, one should understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the form of a devotee, Nityananda Prabhu appears in the form of a devotee's spiritual master, Advaita Prabhu is the form of a bhakta, devotee incarnation. Gadadhar Prabhu is the energy of a bhakta, and Srivas Thakur is a pure devotee. Thus, there are spiritual distinctions between them. The Bhakta Rupa, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Bhakta Swarupa, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and the Bhakta Avatara, Sri Advaita Prabhu, are described as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, His immediate manifestation, and His plenary expansion, and they all belong to the Vishnu category. Although the spiritual and marginal energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, they are predominated subjects, whereas Lord Vishnu is the predominator. As such, although they are on the same platform, they have appeared differently in order to facilitate tasting of transcendental mellows. Actually, however, there is no possibility of one being different from the other, for the worshipper and the worshipable cannot be separated at any stage. On the absolute platform, one cannot be understood without the other. Text 6. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Surupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Translation. Let me offer my obeisances unto Lord Sri Krishna, who has manifested himself in five as a devotee, expansion of a devotee, incarnation of a devotee, pure devotee, and devotional energy. Purport. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the immediate expansion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his brother. He is the personified spiritual bliss of Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is transcendental and full of ecstasy in devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore called Bhakta Rupa, the form of a devotee. And Sri Nityananda Prabhu is called Bhakta Swarupa, the expansion of a devotee. Sri Advaita Prabhu, the incarnation of a devotee, is Vishnu Tattva and belongs to the same category. There are also different types of bhaktas or devotees on the platforms of neutrality, servitude, friendship, parenthood, and conjugal love. Devotees like Sri Damodar, Sri Gadadhara, and Sri Ramananda are different energies. This confirms the Vedic Sutra, Parasya Shaktir Vividava Shriyate. All these bhakta subjects taken together constitute Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. Text 7. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Ekala Ishwar Aditya Nadatmaja Rasika Shekhar. Translation. Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, the Supreme Controller. No one is greater than or equal to Sri Krishna, yet he appears as the son of Maharaj Nanda. Purport. In this verse, Kaviraj Goswami gives an accurate description of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by stating that although no one is equal to or greater than him, and he is the reservoir of all spiritual pleasure, he nevertheless appears as the son of Maharaj Nanda and Yashoda Mai. Text 8. Rasadi Vilasi Brajalala Nagara Arayata Shabadeka Tana Parikar. Translation. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the supreme enjoyer in the rasa dance. He is the leader of the damsels of Braja, and all others are simply his associates. Purport. The word Rasadi Vilasi, the enjoyer of the rasa dance, is very important. The rasa dance can be enjoyed only by Sri Krishna, because he is the supreme leader and chief of the damsels of Vrindavan. All others are his devotees and associates. Although no one can compare with Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are many unscrupulous rascals who imitate the rasa dance of Sri Krishna. They are Mayavadis, and people should be wary of them. The rasa dance can be performed only by Sri Krishna and no one else. Say Krishna Avatirna Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Say Parikara Gana Sanghe Sabadhanya. The self-same Lord Krishna advented himself as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all his eternal associates who are also equally glorious. 10. Ekala Ishwar Tatta Chaitanya Ishwar Bhakta Bhava Maya Tanra Shuddha Kalivar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Controller, the one personality of Godhead, has ecstatically become a devotee. Yet his body is transcendental and not materially tinged. Purport. There are different tattvas or truths, including Isha Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Shakti Tattva. Isha Tattva refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is the supreme living force. In the Katha Upanishad it is said, Nityo Nityanang Chaitanas Chaitananam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme eternal and the supreme living force. The living entities are also eternal and are also living forces, but they are very minute in quantity, whereas the Supreme Lord is the supreme living force and the supreme eternal. The supreme eternal never accepts a body of a temporary material nature, whereas the living entities who are part and parcel of the supreme eternal are prone to do so. Thus, according to the Vedic mantras, the Supreme Lord is the supreme master of innumerable living entities. The Mayavadi philosophers, however, try to equate the minute living entities with the supreme living entity. Because they recognize no distinctions between them, their philosophy is called Advaitavad or monism. Factually, however, there is a distinction. This verse is especially meant to impart to the Mayavadi philosopher the understanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Controller. The Supreme Controller is the Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead, is Krishna himself. But as a transcendental pastime, he has accepted the form of a devotee, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, comes to this planet exactly like a human being, some rascals consider him to be one of the ordinary humans. One who thinks in that mistaken way is described as mudha, or foolish. Therefore, one should not foolishly consider Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an ordinary human being. He has accepted the ecstasy of a devotee, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there have been many imitation incarnations of Krishna who cannot understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself and not an ordinary human being. Less intelligent men create their own gods by advertising a human being as God. This is their mistake. Therefore, hear the words Tanra Shuddha Kalevara warn that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body is not material but purely spiritual. One should not therefore accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an ordinary devotee, although he has assumed the form of a devotee. Yet one must certainly know that although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he accepted the ecstasy of a devotee, one should not misunderstand his pastimes and place him in exactly the same position as Krishna. It is for this reason only that when Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was addressed as Krishna or Vishnu, he blocked his ears, not wanting to hear himself addressed as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a class of devotees called Gauranga Nagari, who stage plays of Krishna's pastimes using a vigraha or form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is a mistake that is technically called rasabhas. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to enjoy as a devotee, one should not disturb him by addressing him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 11. Krishna Madhurya Eka Adbhuta Swabhava Apana Asvadite Krishna Kare Bhakta Bhava. The transcendental mellow of conjugal love of Krishna is so wonderful that Krishna himself accepts the form of a devotee to relish and taste it fully. Purport. Although Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure, he has a special intention to taste himself by accepting the form of a devotee. It is to be concluded that although Lord Chaitanya is present in the form of a devotee, he is Krishna himself. Therefore, Vaishnavas sing, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nai Anya. Radha and Krishna combined together are Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as Sri Sarup Damodar Goswami has said, Chaitanyakyam prakatam adhuna tadvayam chaikyam aptam. Radha and Krishna assumed oneness in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yet sometimes the Lord himself reveals that he is the Supreme Lord, like in the Mahaprakash. So it's not so easy to understand. Lord Chaitanya didn't want to be addressed as the Supreme, but sometimes he manifested the potency of the Supreme. So we have to understand these things in the supplicant section. Text 12. Ite bhakta bhavatare Chaitanya Gosani Bhakta Surupatana Nityananda Bhai. Translation: For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Teacher, accepts the form of a devotee and accepts Lord Nityananda as his elder brother. Bhakta Avataratana Acharya Goswami Eitina Tatta Sabe Prabhu Karigai. Sri Advaitacharya is Lord Chaitanya's incarnation as a devotee. Therefore, these three tattvas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Goswami, are the predominators or masters. Purport: Goswami means Goswami. A person who has full control over the senses and mind is called a Goswami or Gosani. One who does not have such control is called a Godas, or a servant of the senses, and cannot become a spiritual master. A spiritual master who actually has control over the mind and senses is called Goswami. Although the Goswami title has become a hereditary designation for unscrupulous men, actually the title Gosani or Goswami began from Sri Rupa Goswami, who presented himself as an ordinary Gahasta and minister in government service, but became a Goswami when he was actually elevated by the instruction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Goswami is not a hereditary title, but refers to one's qualifications. When one is highly elevated in spiritual advancement, regardless of where from he comes, he may be called Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Goswami Prabhu are natural Goswamis because they belong to the Vishnu Tattva category. As such, all of them are Prabhus, predominators, or masters, and they are sometimes called Chaitanya Goswami, Nityananda Goswami, and Advaita Goswami. Unfortunately, their so-called descendants, who do not have the qualifications of Goswamis, have accepted this title as a hereditary designation or a professional degree. That is not in accord with the Shastric injunctions. (14) Eka Mahaprabhu Ara Prabhu Dvijana Dvi Prabhu Seve Mahaprabhura Charana. One of them is Mahaprabhu and the other two are Prabhus. These two Prabhus serve the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Purport: Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Prabhu all belong to the same Vishnu category, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is nevertheless accepted as the Supreme, and the other two Prabhus engage in his transcendental loving service to teach ordinary living entities that every one of us is subordinate to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In another place, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela chapter 5, text 142, it is said, Ekala Ishwara Krishna Ar Sabhritya. The only Supreme Master is Krishna, and all others, both Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, engage in the service of the Lord. Both the Vishnu Tattva, as Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita, and the Jiva Tattva, Srivasa Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda, engage in the service of the Lord. But one must distinguish between the Vishnu Tattva servitors and the Jiva Tattva servitors. The Jiva Tattva servitor, the spiritual master, is actually the servitor God. As explained in previous verses, in the absolute world there are no such differences, yet one must observe these differences in order to distinguish the Supreme from his subordinates. 18 Tatta Savarajya Karimani Chaturta Ye Bhakta Tattva Aradhaka Jani. The three predominators, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Prabhu, are worshipable by all living entities. And the fourth principle, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, is to be understood as their worshipper. Purport: In his Anubhashya, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, describing the truth about the Panchatattva, explains that we should understand that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme predominator, and that Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are his subordinates, but are also predominators. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, and Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are manifestations of the Supreme Lord. All of them are Vishnu Tattva, the Supreme, and are therefore worshipable by the living entities. Although the other two Tattvas within the category of Panchatattva, namely Shakti Tattva and Jiva Tattva, represented by Gadadhara and Srivas, are worshippers of the Supreme Lord, they are in the same category because they eternally engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Shivasari yata koti koti bhaktagana Shuddha bhakti tattamadye tan sabharagana. There are innumerable pure devotees of the Lord headed by Srivas Thakur who are known as unalloyed devotees. Gadadhara Panditari Prabhu Shakti Avatar Antaranga Bhakta Kari Ganana Yanhara. The devotees headed by Gadadhar Pandit are to be considered incarnations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are confidential devotees engaged in the service of the Lord. Purport. In connection with verses 16 and 17, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in his Anubhashya, quote, there are specific symptoms by which the internal devotees and the unalloyed or pure devotees are to be known. All unalloyed devotees are Shakti Tattvas or potencies of the Lord. Some of them are situated in conjugal love and others in parental affection, fraternity, and servitude. Certainly all of them are devotees, but by making a comparative study, it is found that the devotees or potencies who are engaged in conjugal love are better situated than the others. Thus, devotees who are in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in conjugal love are considered to be the most confidential devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who engage in the service of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Advaita Prabhu generally have relationships of parental love, fraternity, servitude, and neutrality. When such devotees develop great attachment for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they too become situated within the intimate circle of devotees in conjugal love. This gradual development of devotional service is described by Sri Narottam Das Thakur as follows. Gauranga balite habe pulaka sharira hari hari balita naine babe nir ar kabe nitaichan karuna karibe sangsara vasana mora kabe tucha habe vishaya chadiya kabe shude habe man kabe hama haraba Shri Vrindavan rupa raghunatha pade haibe akuti kabe hama boju Pujabha Sri Yugala Puriti. Translation. When will there be eruptions on my body as soon as I chant the name of Lord Chaitanya? And when will there be incessant torrents of tears as soon as I chant the holy names Hare Krishna? When will Lord Nityananda be merciful toward me and free me from all desires for material enjoyment? When will my mind be completely freed from all contamination of desires for material pleasure? Only at that time will it be possible for me to understand Vrindavan. Only if I become attached to the instructions given by the six Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami will it be possible for me to understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna. End of translation. By attachment to the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one immediately comes to the ecstatic position. When he develops his love for Nityananda Prabhu, he is freed from all attachment to the material world, and at that time he becomes eligible to understand the Lord's pastimes in Vrindavan. In that condition, when one develops his love for the six Goswamis, he can understand the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. These are the different stages of a pure devotee's promotion to conjugal love in the service of Radha and Krishna in an intimate relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So just as a corollary to that last statement, Prabhupada is saying if you want to develop love for Lord Chaitanya, you have to love the six Goswamis. In order to love the six Goswamis, you have to love Srila Prabhupada. So I'll stop here. I'm going to make a little photo presentation including some very interesting deities that I saw in Sri Rangam that are related to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So hang in there and we'll do this quickly. Hare Krishna. All right, can we trade places? I need to sit here. Thank you. Okay, so Okay. So the first stop is going to be Dubai. In Dubai, there are hundreds of wonderful devotees. Even though it's a Muslim country, they have continuous sangha there every Friday. Because in the Muslim countries, their weekend is Friday, Saturday. They work Sundays. So every Friday they have a huge um, congregational get together. About 700 devotees come, you'll see. But they also have this temple where they have these devotees, Radha Damodar. So they call it Damodar Desh. Beautiful, beautiful deities. Very unusual. Look at Krishna, Damodar. Very, very beautiful. These are Radharani's hands. She's offering benediction. Exquisite Radharani. Unusual. You don't see Radharani like this anywhere else. This is a temple room. And this is in the middle of the city, Dubai. The altar is actually quite small, but the room is pretty large. It's pretty good size. Can hold about a couple of hundred people. There's a Tulsi on the balcony, and so you get an idea of the city just in that neighborhood. And then, like I said, on Friday, they have this huge program in a Sindhi center. It's a rented hall, but it holds a lot of people. So here we are approaching the Sindhi center, and they bring up Panchatattva deities, Sri Panchatattva Ki Jai, and backdrop of Radha Madhav from Mayapur. Bibi Govinda Maharaj was there, so he spoke first and then I spoke after. And huge kirtan, and you'll see in a minute. So the arti is going on, and you just get some idea of the number of devotees there. Like I said, every Friday they get at least 700 devotees come to this program. And wonderful devotees. What's his name again? Patri. Yeah, Patri Prabhu happened to be there also at the same time. Again, you can see the hall is packed, literally standing room only. Lots of devotees there. Then from there I went to Chennai. ISKCON Chennai temple is really, really beautiful temple. Nice architecture. And our Suresh Prabhu has his family compound just on the other side of the road. So I actually stayed with him. Inside the temple, very interesting. Every morning, just before greeting, a crew of ladies only, and I don't think they're devotees, I think they're hired. But anyway, they come in and they clean the entire temple room from top to bottom every single morning. Completely clean all the marble, dust, everything. It's just so the place is spotless when the deities are greeted every morning. And they have really nice artwork all around the temple. So this is just one example of one painting. So they have Gauri Nitai on the first altar with Govardhan Shila and Lakshmi Nrsimha. And then there's Radha Krishna, Lalita Vishaka, and then Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Another look at Radha Krishna and Lalita Vishaka. Again, very beautiful deities. L is for left, L is for Lalita. Lalita is always on the left, Vishaka is on the right side. Another view of the temple. And this is a night view. At night, they light up the entire temple in different colors, and it keeps changing. So it's very attractive. You can't miss this temple. If we could do that here in New Dwarka, we'd have hosts of people coming every evening just to see the light show. And Krishna Mitra Prabhu and his wife Priyabhashini, they came from Madurai. They actually live in Madurai, which is about 6 hours away, but they came to Chennai to take me on to see some special temples and stuff. And Jaivir, everybody remembers Jaivir. So they're there, and this is Shama, Suresh's daughter. This is outside a temple called Parthasarathi. So they took me to see that temple. Wonderful temple. Then I moved to Tirupati. This is the Tirupati temple, viewed from the guest house balcony. And the Balaji temple is up in those hills that you see in the background there. So I stayed a few days. I went to take darshan of Balaji, and that's incredible in itself. They don't allow you to take any photos, though. They literally frisk you. You can't bring in a cell phone, a camera, or anything. Don't even bother trying. So another view of the temple. All around the temple, they have these wonderful different statues of different incarnations and like that. Then just down the road a bit from the temple, they have a Goshala. And they have these special cows. They have other cows also, but these special ones are very small. They're about the size of a Great Dane dog. They're called Punganur. And they give very special, wonderful milk. And they're very popular now in India. A lot of rich people want to keep them as pets. But they give a lot of milk and very, very wonderful milk. So I suggest that you drop into the Goshala if you go there. There they are. They're very friendly. They're very friendly with each other, and they're very friendly with humans. Even the bulls, they'll come over and nuzzle you. And this is the Tirupati temple. Inside, they also have Radha Krishna deities and Lalita Vishaka Adi. So, beautiful deities there. You can just imagine dressing. So, they, just like in Mayapur, they have Srila Prabhupada come off the altar and you can do an internal parikrama. So here I am carrying Srila Prabhupada around the altar, and then we do the Guru Puja. Then they have only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no Nityananda. They have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then the Utsav Radha Krishna deities. And very interesting, they have Lakshmi Varaha deity on the altar. You don't see those deities very often anywhere, but to speak of in ISKCON. Lakshmi Varaha. And of course they have Govardhan Shila also. And they also have actually two Lakshmi Nrsimha deities on that altar. So that's one Lakshmi Nrsimha deity, and there's a separate second Lakshmi Nrsimha deity. Then we went to Sri Rangam. And Sri Rangam is a small temple under construction, but they have Jagannath deities already installed. Very nice Jagannath deities. And Gornitai. So you get an idea of the size of their temple room. Prabhupada is all the way on the other side facing the deities. And this is from Prabhupada's side looking towards the altar. So again, it's a small but decent size. Then, this is a special temple I was telling you about. There's a special Gaudiya Math temple. It's controlled by the Gaudiya Math, but they're very friendly to devotees. The pujari was not at home, so his elderly mother, she must have been pressing 100 years old, very elderly person. She got the keys and decided to let us in. So the temple president of the Sri Rangam temple, he took me here. And the special thing is that Lord Chaitanya actually came to Sri Rangam on his tour of South India, and he visited this particular spot. And therefore you can see it's called Sri Jagannath Mat, and it says Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his pilgrimage to South performed here in Chaturmasya. So he stayed in that area for 4 months of the Chaturmasya period. And they have very, 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 very special Jagannath Baladev. Notice the story is that because their mood is different in the south, Lord Chaitanya didn't want, but he was feeling separation from Jagannath. So he had these special Jagannath deities made. These are not the originals. Obviously, they get renovated, but he had them made in this form so that the people, the locals, could relate to Lord Jagannath. So he has arms, and his face is more like a normal deity, not like the Jagannath deity we normally see. So there they are. That's their Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Here's Baladev and Subhadra. Again, Krishna Mitra was there. He came with me on that trip. And you can see on the stamba, there's a Garuda stamba, and Lord Chaitanya is standing next to Garuda in this temple. So, that's it. There's a lot more. I went to many more places, but I didn't want to bore you with too many pictures today. So, Jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Hare Krishna.